Welcome one, welcome all to the Funhouse. I am Uncle Salty. This is episode 38, and it's playtime. I've got a fun little short story for everyone today. It is now time to turn back the clock to 1984. I have an incredible memory, but I must admit, I can't remember everything, and I really wanted to know the exact day that this short story happened. So I used this book right here to come up with the specific answer to that very question. And the day was July 28th, 1984. When I was a child, I received $5 for my weekly allowance. That $5 was spent at the first possible chance every single week. Early on, my allowance was primarily spent on Masters of the Universe action figures, which coincidentally were $5 a piece, so it worked out beautifully. I was a child that wanted instant gratification. There were those rare occasions that I didn't have to spend my allowance and still received a toy that is possibly due to my good looks. Actually, those rare occasions happened when we were traveling out of town. You just instantly knew you were going to get a toy. And on July 28th, 1984, we did travel out of town to go visit one of my dad's friends. Now, we left early in the morning, so I knew it was going to be an all-day adventure. I decided to bring a few of my toys along with, just in case there was nothing for me to do there. I didn't want to be bored. So on the way to our destination was the store. And we stopped there and we found ourselves in the toy aisle. And there were two Masters of the Universe action figures that I did not have. So my dad asked me, "So what toy do you want?" And I told him, I'm not really sure. Let's, go through the store and get what you need first, and I'll make my decision when we get back to the toy aisle. Now, I actually knew exactly what I wanted. I just had to figure out and, plan and scheme on how I was going to be able to get what I wanted. So we get back to the toy aisle, and one of the action figures was Zodak. And if you're familiar with the Masters of the Universe toy line from the 1980s and the characters, you'll know that Zodak, which was one of the figures, is the most plain, basic, boring figure in the toy line. The other figure is Webstore. Now, first off, I'll show you that there's the price tag. It is $4.79, marked down from $5. And Webstore is one of my all-time favorite figures in the Masters of the Universe toy line from the 1980s. So I asked my dad, "Aren't we going to get Tara a toy?" And he replies, "Of course we're going to get your sister a toy." So I say to him, "Why don't we get her this toy right here?" "Well, we're not going to get her that toy because she doesn't collect Masters of the Universe." "Oh, yes, she does." And after a few back and forths, I think I convince him that she does in fact collect these toys. I even went so far as to show him this right here. I said, "Look, it has this sweet action feature. You take the grappling hook and you connect it to a stationary object, and then you gently pull the line and watch Webstore climb." We can get her this toy, and me being the good brother that I am, I'll take the plain, basic, boring Zodak figure. So I do convince him that she does in fact collect these toys, and he says, "All right, we'll get her this toy, but it's her toy, so you can't open it and you can't play with it. So I agree, of course, absolutely. We get to my dad's friend's house, and I find myself, for the first part of the day, playing with the 3 figures that I brought, the Zodak figure that is mine, and I even played with this figure right here, Christmas Come Early. Now, since I was unable to open the toy, the storyline playtime adventure that I came up with in my imagination was that this toy right here was trapped in a block of ice. After some time, I don't know how long, but after some time of me playing with the toys, the second part of the day, I found myself watching the NFL Hall of Fame game. And that's where that book comes into play and how I was able to find out the exact day that this specific short story happened. On July 28th, 1984, it was the annual NFL Hall of Fame game, and it was between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Seattle Seahawks. And incidentally, Seattle defeated Tampa Bay 38-0. So at the end of the day, we travel back home, and my sister is waiting at the door, and my dad gives her this toy, and let's just say she is less than impressed. Why did you get me this toy? I don't collect Masters of the Universe. Now, my dad instantly looks at me, and I didn't get into any trouble, but my punishment was that I didn't receive this toy for about 2 or 3 weeks. But I was actually okay with the end result because I ended up, through planning and plotting and scheming, getting exactly what I wanted. If you enjoyed the show today, hit the like button, definitely subscribe to the channel, and as always, have a pleasant evening and a wonderful tomorrow.